Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So as you guys know, a huge passion of mine is positive sex education. Growing up, it was always awkward to talk about sex and STIs, not to mention topics that actually matter to gay and bisexual people. In today's video, we're going to be learning about 3 different STIs that you might already have. Wait, hold on, Michael. I don't have an STI. That might be the case, but there are some STIs that are so common, you have a pretty good chance of catching it in your lifetime. Okay, so to start off, let's talk about the human papilloma virus, also known as HPV. HPV is a sexually transmitted infection caused by a very common virus, but it's barely talked about amongst men. While some HPV types cause penile and other cancers in men, some cause genital warts. Where I live in Ontario, HPV causes 250 deaths per year and over 1,000 cases of cancer. Even with its prevalence, a lot of men are not educated in the causes and preventions of HPV. So the first time I heard of HPV was actually in grade 8. All the girls in my class were getting a vaccination for something called HPV, but I had no idea what it was. It was never really something that I educated myself in until recently because I thought that as a man, it wasn't something that I needed to worry about. It's estimated that without the vaccination, 7 out of 10 sexually active people will get HPV in their lifetime. Now, you might be asking yourself, why is the transmission rate so high? The tricky thing about HPV is that while, yes, it can be spread through skin-to-skin contact through areas such as the anus, the vagina, and the penis head, it also can be spread through the mouth and the throat. That means that condoms don't always prevent HPV because areas that you can catch it with are not always covered with a condom. Also, most people don't even know they have HPV because they show no symptoms. That means that you can be unknowingly spreading it to other sexual partners without even knowing. I know what you're thinking. HPV kind of feels like 2016. No matter how hard you try, you just can't win. Good news is that's not the case. Now, the HPV vaccine is offered for free to men who have sex with men who are 26 years old and under. Like I said before, HPV can be caught through areas that are not always covered by a condom, so the best way to protect yourself is by getting the vaccine. The vaccination covers against 4 types of HPV, which cause approximately 90% of anal cancers, 60% of penile cancers, and 90% of certain throat cancers. It also protects against approximately 90% of genital warts. I got the vaccination last year after I started learning about the increased risk of getting HPV for men who have sex with other men. I know getting shots can be kind of nerve-wracking for people, but it was super simple to receive. Vaccinations are given as either a 2 or 3 dose shots and each take 1 minute to complete. Cancer affects so many people per year. Knowing that getting a couple shots could prevent cancer not only in myself, but in other people, it was one of the easiest decisions that I've ever made. If you live in Ontario, you can find out if you're eligible for the HPV vaccine for free and find sexual health clinics near you by visiting sexualhealthontario.ca. Even if you're not from Ontario and want to learn more about HPV or the HPV vaccine and other STIs, you can find lots of information on that site. Okay, so next, let's talk about the STI that no one really knows how to spell. Gonorrhea. It's a G-O. Growing up, I always thought that gonorrhea had to do with some intense, out-of-this-world bowel problem. Now I know that that's not the case. Gonorrhea is a sexually transmitted infection caused by bacteria, and you can catch it by having unprotected vaginal, anal, or oral sex with an infected person. Okay, so let's talk about the symptoms. Some common symptoms that you may experience if you have gonorrhea is something like a burning sensation when you pee, or a yellow or green discharge coming out of your penis, or swollen testicles. I get it. People don't really like to hear all that gross information when you're talking about an STI, but it's important to know the kinds of things that can happen to you if you have gonorrhea. In recent years, the rates of gonorrhea have actually increased in men who have sex with other men. In 2014, there were more than 5,800 diagnoses of gonorrhea in Ontario. That same year, there were 33% more cases of gonorrhea amongst men. So I did a little bit of digging online to find out why that was the case. And from what I've heard, the rising popularity of PrEP, which is an HIV prevention medication, has influenced a lot of gay and bisexual men to stop using condoms. Essentially, this puts them at risk for other STIs, such as gonorrhea, chlamydia, and syphilis. Untreated gonorrhea can lead to serious joint and heart issues, as well as sterility. To avoid catching gonorrhea, always use latex condoms properly, even if you're on preventative medication like PrEP. If you think you might have it, do not freak out. It's curable. Dealing with a possible STI is nerve-wracking, but it's necessary. The last on our list of STIs that you might already have has made its appearance in plenty of movies.
But if you do touch each other, you will get chlamydia and die.
Yeah, not likely. But serious complications, if left untreated, are guaranteed. The issue with chlamydia is its prevalence in movies has caused a lot of false information about the infection. Chlamydia is a bacterial infection and lives and affects the sexual organs. It can also be found on areas such as the anus and the throat. Chlamydia is super treatable. It's actually one of the most treatable STIs out there, but that doesn't mean that there's not repercussions from getting it. What sets chlamydia apart from other infections is the high number of cases that show no symptoms. Also referred to as the silent infection, chlamydia can go undetected in over 50% of male cases. As a silent infection, you can spread chlamydia without even knowing that you have it. The only way to be sure is to take routine medical tests with your doctor to know your STI status. I actually had a scare a few years ago where I thought I had chlamydia, so if you'd like to learn a little bit more about that story, I'll leave the YouTube link in the description bar down below. Remember, the only person that's going to protect you from possible STIs is you, not your sexual partners. Someone could tell you that they're free of STIs, but they could be withholding information, they might not even know their status, or they could just be showing no symptoms. It doesn't make sex scary, but it does make it a responsibility. If you think that you might have an STI, just talk to your doctor. I mean, you can read all the stuff you want online, you can watch this video, but the only person that's really going to be able to tell you your status is your doctor. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this video on the 3 STIs that you might already have. If you would like to contribute to the conversation around STIs and checkups, you can let me know about a situation you might have around that in the comment section down below. I love you guys. Make sure to comment, rate, subscribe, but most importantly, smile. Bye, guys.